dawnfall period, chaos without masters. The early Republic historians call it the dawn of freedom. A hollow laugh echoes behind her mask. There was no freedom, only chaos. Civilizations previously crushed under Rakatan boots now fought each other for territory. Entire species once uplifted by Rakata technology regressed into pre-hyperdrive savagery. Others advanced rapidly, eager to claim the empty throne. The birth of the Republic. Her tone shifts, not softer, just colder. From this chaos rose the Galactic Republic, born on Coruscant, formed by worlds terrified of falling prey to the next empire. It was not forged in unity, it was forged in fear. A senate of voices desperate to prevent another infinite empire, and destined to fail. They created laws, fleets, alliances, all to stop the rise of another Rakata. And in doing so, they paved the way for worse. The Jedi, shaped by trauma. The Jedi Order arose from philosophers trying to understand the Force without falling to it. They studied the ruins the Rakata left behind. They saw how the dark side fueled entire empires. They feared becoming the next tyrants. So they built a doctrine of restraint. No emotion, no attachment, no ambition. They turned the Force into a cage and then locked themselves inside it. The birth of the Sith. First rebellion against restraint. But there were Jedi who looked at the Rakata and saw not monsters, but lessons. Power should not be feared. Power should be mastered. These rebels were exiled to Korriban, where they encountered the native Sith species. There in the tombs and blood-soaked sand, the first Sith Lords were born. They took the Rakata's philosophy of domination and refined it. The Rakata were beasts. The Sith became surgeons of cruelty. The first galactic shadows, empires rising in the dark. As the Republic grew and the Jedi preached restraint, the Sith forged an empire in silence. Korriban, Ziost, Drummond Kaas. Worlds steeped in hatred, trained for conquest. This was the second great threat the galaxy birthed after the Rakata, a threat that would define millennia. The age of interstellar cultures. With the Rakata gone and the Republic established, other species rose. The Duros, navigators, first great hyperspace explorers after the fall. The Corellians, shipwrights, smugglers, engineers who saw the galaxy as a playground. The Hutt clans, crime lords who filled the power vacuum with corruption and slavery. The Mandalorians, warriors who refined conquest into religion. The Zabrak tribes, survivors who forged identity from suffering. The Ithorian and Mirialan peoples, healers and mystics striving to rebuild what Arakata burned. Species blossomed, fractured, flourished, or collapsed. The galaxy stretched in all directions at once. The unending pattern. What followed the Rakata set the galaxy's fate forever. Her voice becomes lower, the weight of history dreading each syllable like a chain. The fall of the Rakata created the galaxy you have entered. A galaxy defined not by triumph, but by the fear of another infinite empire rising. Every war that followed, every alliance, every betrayal was shaped by that ancient terror. The Republic's laws, the Jedi's restraint, the Sith's hunger, the Mandalorians' crusades, the Hutt's opportunism, all of it. Every thread descends from the Rakata. Her final words, a lesson for Earth. You ask what came after the Rakata? Everything. Their collapse was the galaxy's first breath. Every era since has been an exhalation of war, conflicts shaped by the memory of their dominion. Earth, know this truth. You were not born into a peaceful cosmos. You were born into the aftermath of gods. If you want to survive, study the Rakata well. Every empire since has tried to imitate them. None have ever escaped their shadow. The fall of the Rakata did not birth peace. It unleashed everything that followed. Your galaxy after the Rakata. a shattered map. When the infinite empire collapsed, the galaxy became a wasteland of forgotten technologies and fractured civilizations. Entire species regressed to pre-industrial savagery without Rakata machines to sustain them. Others advanced rapidly, rushing to seize the power vacuum. Some hid, some conquered, some died. But the most important thing to know is this: hyperspace itself was broken. The routes, pathways, lanes of travel, all changed by the downfall of Rakatan hypergates. The galaxy became a labyrinth with no map. The first great explorers, the Duros and the Corellians. It was the Duros who first rebuilt hyperspace navigation. They charted the stars with brilliant precision, built ships that could cross the void again. They became the galaxy's first wanderers after the Rakata. Then came the Corellians, daring, reckless, ingenious. Imagine pirates, engineers, smugglers, and explorers fused into a single species. They rebuilt hyperdrive technology faster than anyone. Their fearlessness gave the galaxy mobility again, the birth of major powers. From this new ability to travel came the rise of cultures destined to shape millennia. The Galactic Republic, not a paradise, a coalition terrified of repeating the Rakatan nightmare. They united to prevent another tyrant from rising. They failed. The Jedi, mystics who sought peace through restraint. They feared the dark side because they had seen what it did to the Rakata. So they built doctrines of denial, meditation, self-control. They believed they could contain the Force. They could not. The Sith species, red-skinned, ferocious, bound by ritual and passion. They developed their own power structure on Korriban, unaware of the exiled Dark Jedi who would soon corrupt them. The Hutts, freed from Rakatan dominance, they crawled into the power vacuum and replaced chains with credits. The Mandalorians, nomadic clans forged by hardship, seeking identity in conquest. The fall of the Rakata shaped them indirectly. It created the chaos in which Mandalorian culture thrived. The first Dark Jedi exile. Long before the Sith Empire, there were Dark Jedi, arrogant students who rejected the Jedi Code. The Jedi defeated them, but chose exile over execution. They sent them into the unknown regions, a slow, knowing breath. And that was their greatest mistake. The exiles discovered the Sith species on Korriban. They enslaved them, interbred with them, taught them corruption refined into art. This union created the first Sith Lords. A new empire was born in shadow, one the Republic did not even know existed. The Sith Empire of Korriban and Zeost. The Dark Jedi, now Sith Lords, molded the Sith species into an army. Their empire grew in secrecy. Warriors born of rage, priests born of ritual, assassins born of shadow, lords born of ambition. While the Republic congratulated itself on peace, the Sith forged fleets, armies, and doctrines of absolute domination. This was the second great power to rise after the Rakata. Hyperspace provides the spog. Two explorers, Gav and Jory Daragon, fled debts and political enemies on Coruscant. They sought uncharted hyperspace routes. Their navigation was experimental, reckless, the kind of thing your early astronauts would call suicidal brilliance. And in their desperation, they stumbled into Sith space. First contact with the Sith, a slow-moving apocalypse. The Sith captured them. Ludo Kresh wished to kill them. Naga Saudo wished to use them. Saudo understood what the Republic did not, that hyperspace could be the bridge for invasion. He staged illusions, assassinated the Sith Council's rivals, framed the Daragons to spark political chaos. Saudo manipulated an entire empire through deception, a skill every Sith Lord after him would imitate. The Sith invasion begins. Nagasado took the Daragon's ship, their hyperspace coordinates, their route to the Republic. He launched a full-scale invasion. Her voice sharpens, reverent in its brutality. This was not a war of conquest. This was a war of destiny. Sado believed the Sith were rightful heirs to the Rakata's throne. He wanted to finish their work, to rule the galaxy through the power of the dark side. The war erupts, light against dark for the first time. The Sith fleets tore into the Republic. Mass planetary bombardments, invasions across multiple systems, Jedi dying by the thousands. The Republic nearly fell, but Sado was betrayed. Ludocrash challenged him. A civil war erupted between Sith factions. The Republic took advantage. The Sith Empire collapsed under its own ambition. Sado fled to Yavin 4, where he would lay the foundations of future Sith legacies. The result, the galaxy set on its bloody path. The Great Hyperspace War ended with the Sith Empire shattered, but not gone. Survivors fled into deep space. They built a new empire on Drummond cars. They waited 1,000 years, and when they returned, the Great Galactic War began. Every Sith conflict since, every Jedi downfall, every Mandalorian uprising, every Republic crisis sprang from this moment. The galaxy that Earth entered was forged in this fire. Ronderou's final words on this era.
The Great Hyperspace War was not a conflict. It was an awakening. It revealed the Republic's weakness. It proved the Sith's cunning. It set the foundation for every war that followed. This galaxy has been bleeding since the day the Daragons made that jump. Earth, you now walk among the descendants of that ancient catastrophe. Know this history, or become one more species swallowed by it. If you think the Great Sith War began with Exar Kun and Ulic Jeroma, you understand nothing. The Great Sith War was not an event. It was a detonation. 1,000 years of buried explosives. Jedi hypocrisy, Sith ambition, Mandalorian bloodlust, and the ancient wrath of the Talm, all igniting at once. Listen, Earthborn. This is how the galaxy burned. The town, the first embodiment of war. Long before Mandalorians painted armor in clan colors, before Jetty and Sith warred across the stars, there was Town, exiled from Coruscant. Shadow-skinned, bone-plated, born of volcanic ash and lightning. Their entire species was a declaration of war. They believed battle was not conflict, but purpose. They shaped the philosophy that all Mandalorians still echo. Honor is found through struggle, glory through conquest, weakness is death. The town became Mandalorians. The Mandalorians became a crucible, and that crucible would ignite half the galaxy. The Mandalorian Crusaders, the flame that came before the Sith. After the Rakata's fall, after the First Republic began to form, the Mandalorian Crusaders spread outward. Their armor was primitive. Their ships were crude, but their will was absolute. They raided the Rim. They tested the Republic. They studied the Jedi with a predator's patience. They were not yet the unstoppable juggernaut they would become centuries later, but the seeds were planted.
Their philosophy of conquest would shape Exar Kun, Ulic, Malachor, Revan, and every war that followed. The Sith Empire, after the Great Hyperspace War, broken but not dead. The Republic celebrated its victory over Naga Sadow. Foolish. Sado survived. He fled to Yavin 4. He carved temples with alchemical might. He taught Sith spirits how to endure.
The Sith Empire fractured, but its ideology sharpened. Every apprentice became a fanatic. Every tomb became a training ground. And every Sith holocron whispered, "Not yet, return stronger." The Jedi Order, a house built on fear. The Jedi feared the dark side like prey fears flame. Their response to the Great Hyperspace War was not strength, but retreat. That denial bred the very monsters they feared. The unseen wars before the Great Sith War. The Republic expanded. The Sith schemed. The Mandalorians sharpened themselves for conquest. The Jedi meditated on illusions of peace. These were not quiet years. These were pressure years. Border skirmishes, resource wars, Republic arrogance, Sith assassinations, Mandalorian raids. 1,000 sparks waiting for the inferno. The rise of Exar Kun, the betrayal of light. Exar Kun was everything the Jedi feared. Brilliant, bold, powerful, curious. The Jedi tried to chain his potential with rules. He broke the chains. He sought forbidden teachings. He defied his masters. He ventured to Korriban, then Yavin 4. There, in Sado's temples, he embraced the dark side willingly. He did not fall, he leapt. He took the title of Dark Lord of the Sith. And the galaxy trembled. Ulic Qel-Droma, the fall of a hero. Where Exar Kun was ambition, Ulic Qel-Droma was conviction. A Jedi warrior, a symbol of courage. Until his arrogance led him to infiltrate the Kraft cult, a nest of dark side fanatics. He thought he could resist. He failed. Injected with Sith poison, tempted by Kraft sorcery, broken by grief from lost allies, he became Exar Kun's equal, his brother in darkness. Hero turned warlord. The Mandalorians enter the war. Mandalore the Indomitable. Mandalore the Indomitable, a warrior with Tang blood still loud in his veins, pledged his clans to Ulic. The Crusaders followed him into the fires of the war. They believed Ulic was marked by destiny, and for a time, he was. Mandalorian fleets scorched the Outer Rim. They assaulted Onderon, Iziz, and countless worlds. The Republic tasted terror long before Revan arrived centuries later. Ossus burned. The Jedi archives were destroyed. Masters died by the hundreds. The Republic fled, bled, and struggled to survive. This was the galaxy's first true taste of the Jedi Civil War that would come centuries later. The heroes, Noses stood against the dark. Not all bent the knee to despair. She lists them like etchings on a war memorial. Nomi Sunrider, whose light blazed bright enough to blind the dark. Master Thon, calm as oceans, immovable as mountains. Cassian Ando, no, wrong era, ignore that. Jory Darrigan's lineage aiding the Republic defense. Tot Danita, loyal, fierce, unwavering. The Jedi of Ossus who sacrificed themselves to save knowledge. There were heroes. But the galaxy remembers scars more than saviors. The fall of the war. Exar Kun attempted to siphon the life of the entire Jedi Order. He failed. The war ended with ruins. Ruined worlds, ruined orders, ruined philosophies. The scars left behind. Her tone becomes heavier, like she's speaking of personal memory. The Great Sith War carved wounds deeper than the Republic ever admitted. On the Jedi, they tightened their code further, punished emotion even more, created the rigidity that would later birth Revan and the Exile. On the Sith, the survivors carried Exar Kun's teachings into hidden cults, seeds that would flower later in new wars. On the Mandalorians, defeat only hardened them. Their culture evolved further into the armor-wearing warriors you know. The Crusader legacy shaped Mandalore the Ultimate. On the Republic, they learned nothing. They rebuilt the same weak system destined to collapse again. On the galaxy, it was set on rails leading toward the Mandalorian Wars. The Jedi Civil War, the Dark Wars, The Great Galactic War, the Cold War, and your galactic war. Ronderou's final warning. Earth, understand this. The Great Sith War was not a distant legend. It was the first stone thrown into a lake whose ripples became tsunamis. Every galactic conflict that followed, every Sith resurgence, every Mandalorian crusade, every Jedi schism, was birthed by these events. This is the inheritance of the galaxy you have entered. Blood, ambition, fire, failure, rebellion, cycle. Learn these truths, or drown in the same history that drowned empires before you. Listen, humans of Earth, this is the war that shaped your fate long before your species discovered fire. The Mandalorian Wars were not a conflict. They were a revelation. A test of the galaxy, a crucible of Jedi failures, a rebirth of ancient evils, and the forge that created Revan. The most dangerous mind the galaxy ever birthed. Prepare yourselves. The root, the town legacy. To understand the Mandalorian Wars, you must understand the town. They were Mandalorians before the word existed, a species of ash-skinned warriors, forged on a world of lightning and fire. They believed existence is war, that struggle is purity, that battle is truth. When the town became Mandalorians, the creed survived even as the flesh changed. Honor through combat, glory through conquest, legacy through victory. Every war they ever waged, every flame they ever spread, was an echo of the town heartbeat. The Mandalorians before the war, a culture searching for purpose. Centuries passed after the Great Sith War. The Mandalorians fractured, scattered, weakened. Their clans wandered the whim. Some became mercenaries. Others became raiders. Most were held together only by memory. The galaxy thought the Mandalorians were dying. The galaxy was wrong. The rise of Mandalore the Ultimate. Then came Mandalore the Ultimate, a warlord born of iron, a leader with charisma enough to unify shattered clans, a warrior touched, unknowingly, by the manipulations of a hidden Sith Emperor. He rebuilt the Crusader identity. He reforged the Neo-Crusaders. He dons the Mask of Mandalore, a symbol of ultimate authority. Under him, the Crusade awakened. The Outer Rim birds first. The Mandalorians did not strike the core first. They were not fools. They attacked the Rim, where Republic authority was weakest, and where defenders were poorly supplied. Worlds like Ophir, Sirocco, Vanquo, Cathar, they burned. Entire species were enslaved or exterminated. A brief pause, a heavy breath. Yes, the Cathar were among the gravest of their inflicted wounds, bound by revenge turned into cruelty. Morales' people were nearly erased on the beaches of their own home world. This atrocity would become one of the pillars of Revan's fury. The Republic's silence, cowardice masquerading as peace. The Republic washed the flames in debated paperwork. Senators argued, committees stalled, logistics officers made excuses. The Senate refused to commit forces. We cannot provoke the Mandalorians. We must seek diplomatic solutions. The Rim is far away. Their cowardice condemned millions. The Jedi Order, paralyzed by its own dogma. The Jedi sensed darkness in the Mandalorian advance, a deeper influence, something beyond mere conquest. But the Council refused to act. They meditated, they debated, they hid behind the code. They feared repeating the Great Sith War, so they abandoned the Outer Rim. Her voice grows sharper, like a blade being driven into armor. Remember this well. The Jedi could have stopped the war before it began. They chose not to. The revanchists, the Jedi who defied the Council. While the Council hid, younger Jedi rose. Warriors, scholars, protectors who could no longer stomach inaction. They followed one man, a Jedi Knight, brilliant, charismatic, ruthless in logic, who refused to let worlds burn. Revan. His followers became the revanchists. They donned helmets to conceal their identities, so the Council could not punish them. They stepped into the war while the Order sat motionless. The mosque, the moment destiny shifted.
Revan arrived on Kafar after the massacre. He saw the corpses of the innocent. He felt the screams imprinted in the sands. And he found the mask of a Mandalorian woman who stood against the massacre of Cassus Fett. He placed it upon his face.
In that moment, Revan became more than a Jedi. He became a force of destiny. And wars unfold hell across the galaxy. Revan and Alec, who would become Malak, led the Republic's armies. The Mandalorians struck with brutal efficiency. Worlds fell, worlds sacrificed for victory. Worlds fought back. Worlds died screaming. The Republic Navy turned from retreat to resilience under Revan's leadership. He outmaneuvered the Crusaders at every turn. His strategies were brilliant, ruthless, necessary. The war became a crucible. The turning point. The held and crushing of the Crusaders. Revan earned the Mandalorian respect in war, defining himself in blood for victories that shattered Crusader morale. His tactics became legend. Blockades at strategic choke points, sacrificial fleets used to bait Mandalorian flagships, liberation of besieged worlds. The Neo-Crusaders bled. Malachor V, the planet that screams forever. The final battle. Mandalore the Ultimate. Revan Alec, the Republic's finest. The Mandalorian Horde. And Mitra Surik, the Exile, commanding the men that acted the mass shadow generator. Malachor V was already a wound in the Force. A taboo world to the Mandalorians from the age of the Tongs who first stepped foot on that world and were driven mad by its dark powers, blocking entry ever again on that cursed world. Revan exploited it. Tens of thousands died in a single instant, as the mass generator destroyed the entire planet. Mandalorians, Jedi, Republic soldiers. The mass shadow generator shattered the surface. A planet became a grave. Surik severed herself from the Force to survive, unable to bear the wound she had inflicted. Revan killed Mandalore the Ultimate and took the mask of Mandalore. The Crusade died with him. The aftermath. Victory poisoned by corruption. Revan won. But victory came laced with corruption. Something in the unknown regions whispered to him. A Sith Emperor. Vitiate. A manipulator of minds, but devourer of worlds. Revan and Malat followed his call with their fleet, disappearing as the galaxy tried to heal. And the next war, the Jedi Civil War, was born. The scars of the Mandalorian Wars. This war carved scars deeper than any before it. On the Jedi, they were in debate and in question, their hypocrisy exposed, their authority broken, their code questioned by every generation after, as many now distrusted their order. On the Republic, it survived by becoming dependent on a single Jedi general, and that dependence nearly destroyed it. On the Mandalorians, they lost their greatest leader, their clans scattered again, their honor broken. Many become no better than raiders or mercenaries. On Revan and Malak, the war awakened their brilliance and their darkness. The Mandalorians had taught them violence. Their inner self awakened from the bloodshed. On the galaxy, it created the perfect storm that led to the Jedi Civil War, the Dark Wars, and the Great Galactic Wars centuries later. Ronderou's final words on the Mandalorian Wars. The Mandalorian Wars did not end. Their consequences ripple through your galactic war, through Earth's arrival, through every alliance and betrayal you now witness. Understand this well, humans of Earth. The Mandalorian Wars were not a chapter. They were the catalyst of every major conflict that followed. A firestorm that lit the path for Revan, for Malak, for the Exile, for Vitiate, for Malgus, and for every tyrant and savior this galaxy has birthed since. This war carved the galaxy's bones. And now you walk among the skeletons. Hear me, Earthborn. What came after the Mandalorian Wars was not recovery. It was collapse. The Jedi Civil War and the Dark Wars were not battles. They were extinction events that stalked the Jedi like predators in fog. Revan sparked the first. Nihilus and Sion feasted on the remains. The Jedi Civil War when a savior returned as a scourge. Revan won the Mandalorian Wars, but victory had a price. The Sith Emperor Vitiate reached into his mind like a surgeon. He twisted Revan and Malak into instruments. They returned from the unknown regions wearing new names. Darth Revan, Darth Malak. Once heroes, now predators. Broken from Vitiate's will, they carved their own plan. The Star Forge, the Rakata's cursed machine. Revan found the ancient Rakatan Star Forge, a factory that fed on the dark side and built endless fleets. This war carved the galaxy's bones. Revan seized it, and the war began. The Republic falls apart. Revan struck with mathematical cruelty. He severed hyperspace routes, cut supply lines, turned the Republic's own weaknesses into nooses. He was not trying to win quickly. He was shaping the galaxy into something he could rule. Something that could challenge Vitiate's Sith Empire lying still in the dark. Entire sectors fell with barely a scream. The Jedi Order breaks. Revan did not kill Jedi. He hunted their ideals. He targeted enclaves, archives, shipyards, families. Every Jedi death weakened the Order. Every captured Jedi became a new Sith apprentice, broke their wills as he had learned on Malachor 5, killed those that wouldn't follow him, and turned what he had learned into a weapon of cruel obedience to him. The Jedi Order began to die long before the Order realized it. Betrayal, Malak turns on Revan. Malak hungered for power. He fired on Revan's flagship during a Republic assault. Revan was left near death. A Republic strike team retrieved him, his memories shattered. Taken by the Jedi, his mind was reshaped and turned into a new weapon. A weapon by the Jedi Order to discover what had he discovered that fueled his empire. Malak took control of the Star Forge and unleashed total annihilation. The Star Forge War, the galaxy collapses by degrees. Malak bombarded Telos, destroyed worlds, turned Jedi into twisted weapons. Jedi fell to despair. The Republic crumbled, the Senate fractured. Fleets burned in orbit over planet after planet. It was the closest the galaxy had come to another Rakatan extinction. Revan returns, redemption from ruin. Revan, stripped of memory, rebuilds himself piece by piece. He hunted Malak. He reclaimed lost alliances, created new ones on board the Ebon Hawk. He reawakened the Jedi Order's final flame. On the Star Forge, he killed his former friend with the broken heart of their once friendship and ended the war. But the galaxy had already bled dry. The aftermath, a galaxy with no shield left. The Jedi were nearly gone. The Republic was a dying animal. Entire sectors had no governments, no stable militaries, no true defenses. The Republic was dying. And into this void crept hunger. The Dark Wars, where hope went to die. The Jedi Civil War was a wildfire. The Dark Wars were the vultures feeding on the ash. Three forces rose from the shadows. Darth Sion, the Undying, a corpse held together by hate. A monster who refused death. Darth Nihilus, the wound in the Force. A being who devoured planets. Not conquered, not destroyed, devoured. Darth Traya, the Betrayer. Kreia, the broken master of Revan, who saw the Force itself as the author of all suffering. Together they threatened to murder the Force itself. The Jedi exile the last light in the void. One Jedi survived Malachor 5 by cutting herself off from the Force. Mitra Surik. She returned from exile to a galaxy where Jedi were hunted like animals. Temples empty, masters dead, knights missing, Padawans scattered. She rebuilt an order from nothing and faced the triumvirate alone. Nihilus strikes, the death of worlds. Nihilus did not wage war. He consumed it. He devoured Qatar, an entire Miraluka colony. He left nothing but dust and silence. He would have devoured the galaxy if Mitra Surik had not ended him. Sion, the man who could not die. Sion's body was a mosaic of wounds, every bone shattered,
every organ ruined.
But he lived through hate, through the dark side. He was a lesson. Pain can become power when the body's sacrificed for the will. The exile broke him, not through death, but through truth. Trier, the witch who sought to kill the Force. Kreia, Darth Treya, master of betrayal. She hated the Force, hated its manipulation, hated the way it chose champions and victims alike. She wanted to free the galaxy from destiny, to silence the Force from weather. Mitra Surik ended her war, but her philosophy survived. The Jedi would never be the same again. The Jedi Order almost dies. By the end of the Dark Wars, the Jedi were functionally extinct. A handful survived. Most were wounded. Many had lost their connection to the Force. Mitra left her legacy in the companions that followed her and in return taught them. For the first time in history, the galaxy stood without guardians. Predators waited in the dark. The Republic, a body without blood. The wars depleted its fleets. Its economy shattered. Its unity crumbled. The Republic survived only by inertia. For the next centuries, it drifted, wounded, desperate, waiting for the next strike. The legacy of both wars. A galaxy left fractured. The Jedi Civil War birthed ruin. The Dark Wars birthed emptiness. Together they created the vacuum into which Vitiat's empire returned. And that return, 300 centuries later, created the Great Galactic War, the Cold War, and the Galactic War you walked into. This is the truth, Earthborn. Your arrival comes after centuries of death. Every major power in this galaxy is built on bones. Every belief system is cracked. Every species carries generational trauma. And every war you face was forged in the crucible of Revan and the Exile. Where the Jedi Civil War nearly destroyed the galaxy, the Dark Wars nearly finished the job. These were not conflicts. They were extinction-level events. If you wish to survive in this galaxy, understand the wars that came before you, the nature of them, and the nature of the Sith Empire that has waited for 1,000 years, built in hate and destruction. Or your world will become one more ghost in a graveyard older than your world.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.